I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Guys, welcome back to Oops the Podcast. Hopefully you know and love us still. We certainly know and love you still. So thank you for listening. We have a great guest today. OG New York comedian, very funny guy. He just dropped a special today on Netflix, 37 and Single. Please give it up for Jared Freid.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Love a little clap. I'll take it. Thank you for having me. Let me just tell the people at home, your apartment, you are living large.
Thank you,
This is a great apartment. This is like a drug dealer ascent
Nice.
apartment.
Thank you.
Like, this is on the way up. You're not at the top yet,
But
this is the apartment you get, the first one.
Right.
When you first, like in the movie of
Right.
the drug dealer, he's like, we're moving on up, and it's
Yeah.
like their garbage apartment, and then they go to this one. I think this is the the fun part of the movie, so to
Right,
speak.
exactly. If I wasn't such an ambitious criminal and I
Right.
stopped here and didn't try to do more, the feds would never have been on to me.
Well, this is when life was good, before fur coats. You know, this is when, yeah, right. This is the part of the movie that you're like sitting at home, like, yeah, let's deal drugs. And then you get to the part where he goes too much. You're like, you're going too hard and too fast.
You're
And
flying
then
too
by
close
the
to
end, you
sun.
go, maybe drugs aren't the right
Yeah,
way to go.
exactly. Exactly. That's the arc every single time.
Yeah.
Well, dude, congratulations. Very cool.
Thank you.
Is this your first special on like a major network?
Dude, it's like the most surprising thing that ever happened to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not surprise. You know, it's weird. You go, you know, we are out there every night, and you know, when you see these carrots, these things out there, these goals, you go, you spend your whole comedy time going, well, why aren't I doing that?
Totally.
Why aren't I getting that? Where am I in the grand scheme? And then you make it. I made the special in December. I paid for it, did the whole like out of pocket, but made it at a level that, you know, that dreams could happen. Like I didn't do the 10 grand special that I could put on YouTube that wouldn't even get looked at because they're like, we don't use those cameras.
Interesting.
You do you know, if you go to the menu, you know, take away all rebuttals was my thing.
And was this a discussion? Were you like, were they like, well, if we shoot it this way, you're not going to have a shot, but if you shoot it this way, you might.
If you shoot it this way, this could go on Netflix.
Got it.
Is basically what you're told.
Got it.
And do it. Let's go.
Sick.
I'm not just making something to make it.
Right.
And then you take it to market, you know, with, you know, you try to sell it and you hear the no's, and then it takes a long time.
How long is a long time?
I mean, it's coming out August 15th. It's made in December.
So it was done in December.
Done February.
So you shot in December, fully in the can in February, and then you began to shop it.
Right. March-ish, maybe. I'll give it March.
Okay.
And then you go out and you hear no's, and you're like, you know, and you're like, you know, you start trying to like, you come to terms with reality. I made it with Betches, the media company
Sick.
that I do You Up podcast with. And like, you know, my thing with Betches was like, okay, I'll give away, you know, half to them. They didn't pay, I paid. And then I go, you come in as a co-producer. And in my mind, if all else fails, I put it on my YouTube page, and at least Betches is going to put it on
Promote
their
it.
Instagram.
Totally.
And I'll get,
It's a hedge.
that's a hedge.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and in the selling process, I'm like, we can say this is part of the story. Betches is involved. Like, who doesn't want to be involved with a huge media successful company that is going to promote this special?
Yeah, totally.
So you start getting no's, and you get like mad. You're like, how could you look at how many, you go, what the fuck, you know? And then you go, and then I got a call. Hey, Netflix loves it. We're going to do it.
Wow.
They're going to do it. And you very quickly go from, why isn't my special getting bought, to, why would they buy my special?
That's great.
It's the quickest
That's crazy.
confidence change in the world.
Yeah.
Because I made it a long time ago. I toured it on the road for a year and a half, a
Yeah.
year. It's good. It
Yeah.
worked in every room I did it in.
Mhm.
There were very few bad nights, like
Yeah.
when I would work on jokes, but then you got to go through the clips and you got to like watch yourself, and you're
Brutal.
You know, we grow up, you know, that thing where Seinfeld says you're like your age, how many years you've done comedy is your age in comedy. So it's like if you're 1 year in, you're a 1-year-old.
Right.
You know, you have the skills of a 1-year-old. If you're 13 years in, you're a teenager. You're starting to get the skills of a teen. So I'm 13 years in, same as you, right?
I think I started maybe a little before that, but I started in 2008.
Right.
And
So
around the same time.
Around the same time. And, you know, we forget that because we're not 40 years in, a day to us, we have growth. We're going through puberty.
Right.
So our growth at 13 years in is quicker than it would be at 40
25.
years in.
This is reassuring too to hear this.
Do you know what I
This is
mean?
good.
Right?
Yeah.
It's only because I put it on tape. I wouldn't look at it that way because I'm now doing a whole new hour. I have a whole new hour material that I've been that it took me, which is awesome. You know, the way it worked out is the way it's supposed to
Perfect,
work out.
right? You're going to tour with new material to promote the special.
Anyone listening can come to my show and get a brand new hour.
If you got any dates you want to plug,
I got dates, jaredfree.com. I'm going to be out. I'm Atlanta, Long Island, Raleigh, Lexington, Philly, Seattle. I'm all over jaredfree.com. But so I'm watching these clips and you go, oh my God, I do that thing all the time and I would have switched that thing. So you have to again, this last few weeks have been the best time of my life. I'm so happy.
Totally.
But it's also a lot of anxiety, stress, you know, and then the notes I've gotten from people that like what I do, amazing. You know, for us, you know, when people that follow us, we are the rookie card. You know, I've been saying this for years, that follow anyone on my podcast because now you hold the rookie card. Now you get to you know, be like, I knew this fucking guy. You know, I listened when. So I'm getting a lot of notes like that. And it's just been the greatest. I mean, we're taping this like before it comes out, but it comes out on the day
this is out. Yeah.
I'm like sitting here like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, like it's bigger than I can wrap my head around.
Totally.
Right now. Like,
you have not gone through it yet. What it
yet.
feels like.
So I'm just,
cool.
You know, like last night I went out
cool.
and had a nice dinner and drank too much. And I'm like,
love it.
And I'm like sitting there going, should I just be like getting in shape? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or should I just Fat Tuesday? I don't know what I should be doing.
Dude, yeah, I have a lot of great stuff I want to talk to you about that I relate to in your special and in general, just like knowing you and what we are interested in and talk about. But first of all, it's funny you mentioned listening to yourself and shit and how that sucks. And like you watch something about watching stand up. It's my form of media that I hate watching myself do the most for some reason. I don't know why, but like I just hate it. So
because
it's a chore.
Because when you watch it, you go, I do this, I do that. You're critical.
Yeah.
You're critiquing on the fly. Oh, I do that. No, I got to stop doing that.
Why did I say that?
Right.
Why did I say that like that? Why did it take me so long to get to that point? Whatever it might be. But it's funny to get icked out by your own special when you talk about the ick in your special. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're experiencing your own
getting
ick.
the ick from myself talking about the ick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do have that moment because like.
Very meta.
Right. It is very looking in the mirror. Right at that moment. Yeah.
I wrote a couple down that these aren't like spoilers or anything. And if you think they are, we can get rid of them.
I appreciate, it's funny that you even watch. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I love to have a reason to. I feel like I don't watch the things my friends do.
Right.
And I feel guilty about it, but I'm so busy trying to get people to watch what I do.
No, I get it. I watch them all. I usually end up watching a special of like a friend of ours, like someone that's out there. When I'm like home drunk, I'm like, throw it on. Let me have fun with this. Like I'm like, I can ease out of my own insecurity, whatever mode. And I just dive in. And then and also I'm on the road usually when I do it.
Nice.
And I love, it's just like a nice night. And I'm like, I get, I don't know. Just that's when I usually watch a special. So I understand that. Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's a helpful exercise, maybe even on the road. Maybe it's just a coincidence you do that. But like, I find that when I do actually watch a special, it gets my brain in a place where like I can make progress with my own stuff.
Absolutely.
For whatever reason.
You start like going, oh, I'm hearing the cadence.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. I've been thinking about this subject. Now I'll do it in that cadence.
Right.
And you're not like copying. You're just like, oh, it's just, I'm more of a creative brain at that point. I know exactly.
And to add on to that, no, I know exactly what you mean. And it's like sometimes if I'm just like sitting and actually writing, which I obviously do, it's the least productive part of my writing process. But if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be as good, even if I get 10% more from it.
I always use the Bill Burr advice that he gives, or that he gave once, and I've now made it a motto. He's like, if you have a new minute a week, you'll have 52 minutes by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And if you put it down that way, you go, okay. And then what I've always thought about that advice, if you do a new minute a week, you have 52 a year. That doesn't mean 52 good minutes.
Totally.
But you wouldn't have gotten to 22 good minutes if you didn't try for 52 minutes.
Totally. And you might have 20 good minutes, but 32 better minutes. And you don't know when you're going to write the better joke that fits
so you
in
just
nicely.
have to do it daily and make it structure it.
Yeah.
And make it small. This is anything too. Like
Yeah.
comics have this reputation of like, we're not, lazy, wake up late, smoking weed, getting drunk, whatever. But when comics are working, that is, there's a work ethic that I don't think many people have. Like,
Agreed. Yeah. And, and I want to talk more about the watching the special thing, but like I was saying this to somebody the other day who was like down on comedy and, whatever. And I pointed out to the person that they aren't doing the obvious things that are helpful and that work. And I'm like, it's not a coincidence that guys, and I use you as an example, that guys like Jared Freed, Chrissy D, some of the Stavros, like some like super pervasive people who you're seeing them constantly. Like there's a reason why they're also doing so well. Like they are working their fucking asses off. That doesn't just happen.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. I'll throw that up. You can't do that once a month and hope to grow.
No. You have to do it. It's every day, every minute. And
you know what I mean by that, right?
I know exactly.
I didn't mean like, oh, they post. That's the only reason. Obviously.
No, I don't take it that way at all. I've been getting a lot of nice things said to me because that's what happens when you have something like this happen.
Which is
and
great.
It's very, you have a little bit of an imposter syndrome. As I said, when the minute you get a special, you go, why would they give me a fucking special?
Totally.
But yeah, I've worked really hard, and the internet was always a part to me of the job from day one. And
you've been ahead of the curve with that.
I was always doing.
You were always doing. You had a pod you had a poppin' pod before people had pods.
Right.
Way before, and was thinking in that way of like, how do I get butts in the seats? I think it's due to a lack of confidence. I didn't think I would ever get booked in anything. Like I never thought that I would be cast. I didn't think I was like, I'm in this weird middle ground of looks, like it's not like I'm a classic look. I'm not, obese. Maybe I am by doctor standards, but I'm like, just like, I looked more like the agents than I did the comedians. Dude, that's funny.
So I always had this thing from agents and bookers and casting people. They weren't excited to bring me because they should have just brought themselves,
Totally. That's really funny. And yeah,
I saw that. And so I was like, I'll put all this shit on. I'll be funny. I'll go direct to consumer.
Right.
And yeah, but then going out and doing stand up every night, I think a lot of people can confuse themselves that this online thing doing well means their stand up's going to be good.
No, you got to have it both.
You got to have it both. And people know right away. And that's the greatest compliment I get is I get a lot of women that come to my show and they'll bring a boyfriend, and then the boyfriend comes in like, who's this guy? He must be pandering to my girlfriend because he talks about dating and The Bachelor. He must be a pandering fucking
son of a bitch
douche. Yeah. And then they come in and they're like, oh no, he's just a douche like me.
Right.
And you see them go, oh, this was like good. It wasn't all Bachelor stuff. It was you're a real, you do that, and that's a great comment because it's like, first of all, they came because they just liked me, not because they knew stand up.
Yeah.
And then they were like, holy fuck, we laughed the whole night.
And he brought the heat.
Yeah. And it's like, that's the, that's why we as comedians get so frustrated when we see someone get on stage that doesn't, that because of the internet stuff.
Right.
We go,
that's the impulse. Like, oh God.
Fuck.
They're playing catch up in the other direction.
Right. And you go, why did I even go to the bar at 4:00 to do an open mic? Like I'm the idiot.
Yeah. Right.
That's how you think you're so much smarter than me. that you could just be good at stand up without doing the work.
without learning how to do it.
Right.
Totally. And like, yeah, that is funny too, because we didn't even really have that option. Like
No.
popping off on the internet wasn't an option yet. So like it forced us to have to be good enough if we wanted to stick around. Cause like
Right.
you hit a ceiling eventually. Like you can do open mics, whatever. As people start progressing, if you don't keep progressing, people lose steam.
Right.
I've seen a lot of pretty solid people even just stop doing it.
That's the thing too. Like I've been seeing all these people. I'm like, you go, you should have a special. You have a special. And you go, man. I'm like, I feel lucky,
Yeah.
But then you go to the work thing. You go, yeah, but I've done work.
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
But it's this weird emotional thing that I keep going back and forth on.
Yeah.
these
Swing the
last-
odds in your direction though. Like put in the work and maybe you won't have to get lucky.
Right.
I relate to something you said about the agent thing where you're like, I look more like the agents.
Right.
Sometimes I also feel more like the agents.
Oh, of course you
I'm
have
like,
to be.
I went to school, but like, and that is also true, but and you do have to be, but I mean more in like, just from a resting, like the way I am as a person way.
Right.
I'm like, I know a lot of people like this who I went to school with, whatever. And I'm like, I bet they don't like that. They don't want me. And then I'll see some like super like whimsical, like comedian who's just got it. Like everything this person turns to gold. I'm like, what does that guy do all day? He doesn't even look at the agents and they're just like sweating him. And I'm like, fuck, do I need to be more like that?
Right. It takes, as far, I agree with you because it's funny. I said, like I call it FTG mode. Okay. Fuck that guy mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's within all of us.
Mhm.
I would imagine that someone who's my age from a suburb outside of a, whatever town, a suburb outside of a city that went to a state school that is told, hey, this guy's just like you. He does, and he does comedy. I'm assuming they go, well, fuck that guy.
100%.
I'm funny.
100%.
You know,
100%. 100%.
And so like anytime you're presented with someone that, you look like them, you remind me of them, it's immediately like you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know that one. Well, I'll be the judge. And
Totally.
so when you see someone who's so different than you are now interesting
Drawn
for
to
having
them.
and for having presented them to everyone.
Mhm.
Look how
Right.
much I know.
Right.
Look at this person. They walk around in a corduroy suit all day long
Right,
and
right.
they know poetry and
As opposed
Again-
to Jared, who was an AE Pie. I don't know if you were.
right, no, but
You know what I mean?
close enough.
Yeah.
But that's the point, though. That's the hard thing. Again, and everyone has their thing. This
Mm-hmm.
isn't to say this stuff that we're talking about is harder than the corduroy suit person
Uh-huh.
and what they have to figure out.
Totally.
It is just different.
Different.
It's a different rebuttal, and it's something I think a lot about because I'm like, when I put stuff online, I'm like, what makes me, shareable?
Right.
And when I started doing like the board lord, I started yelling at charcuterie. It was the dumbest fucking thing, but I could feel people were like, it was getting people to share it.
Totally.
And I'm like, oh, this is a branding opportunity. Under the guise of meats and cheeses, I will get shared.
Right.
Like Trojan horse this bitch.
Right.
And it's, the charcuterie thing started from a tweet. I could tell what type of parent you'd be based on your charcuterie. and then I woke up in the morning to take a flight to Aruba to go on vacation.
Sick.
And I had all these tweets back with pictures of charcuterie. And they're like, what type of parent would I be?
Mhm.
So then I started posting on Instagram story. I started reviewing them. Then everyone said, what you realize is that a charcuterie is like a baby. Like everyone takes a picture of theirs and has it on their phone. So I had all these people had these pictures. And this was the beginning of chart boards becoming a thing. So then TikTok comes out. I can do green screen. Again, I'm not, hey, check out this funny guy just like you. It's check out charcuterie guy.
Right.
Like, and look at this guy. He's wearing a king's crown talking about charcuterie. Like, he's out of his fucking mind. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then you start to learn about, like, yeah, that's what motivates.
Right.
That people connected on it. Oh, we were talking about charcuteries the other day, and they thought it was funny.
So when you see a new thing come out, do you approach it like that? Like as an opportunity? You're like, oh, or are you kind of like, oh, fuck, I now need to learn how to use this app?
Oh, no, I never. Everything was for young people at one point.
Right.
When people were talking about TikTok, and I was late to TikTok because I just was like, I don't know if I was lazy or what, or just TikTok doesn't really serve me as well because, I mean, I guess the same could be said for like social media, but TikTok especially, you have to do one thing and repeat it to death to really
Crush it.
Nimesh has been very successful on TikTok.
He's crushed it.
He's crushed it because he does one thing, stand up. And he does it to death, which is what I should probably do. We should all do. If we want to do stand up, you put out stand up. But I like yelling at charcuterie. I like being funny in other ways.
Yeah.
I like doing the Bachelor,
Yeah.
live stream. So I'm like, I'm going to do what I do everywhere else here.
Totally.
So TikTok is going to be slower for me. That's okay. I'd rather someone who really loves my stuff than anyone who wants to eat me. Fine, eat me. I went into a metaphor halfway through. I'd rather be. That's how I talk about people like me. But no, so yeah. So that's been slower, but I still put out the shit.
Yeah.
That I enjoy, and so when I see TikTok or the new thing, I go, parent. It'll be Facebook at some point.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
The old person thing.
Again, that was another thing. Like people used to make fun of me or make fun. They weren't being mean, but like when I'd say I'm taking a night off to yell at The Bachelor, people were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't know. It feels like I'm doing my own TV show every week.
Yeah.
And it's funny now to see like, oh, they're like, oh, that probably was a good idea.
When things work, people stop hating on you as much.
Right.
At first, yeah, it can be hard. Like it's sort of, I think I mentioned this before. I didn't think of this, but the idea of like, how do you become a thought with 1 million followers? You start as a thought with 500 followers and it's cringe. You know what I mean? But then once you have 1 million followers, now people are bragging about you.
Right. Oh, I went to high school with them.
Yeah, I know this guy. Fucking.
Yeah. Well, that's again, why don't I have a Netflix special? Why would I ever have a Netflix special when you go from, look, I went to high school with this chick who puts out bikini pictures. Look, I went to high school with this model.
Yeah.
It's a change of tone.
Totally. Dude, and it's funny too, like how fickle our brain is, and for good reason, because it's like so subjective that like things aren't always necessarily true. So for example, while you're shopping around your special, the same special.
Right.
Can be you think it's not that good, but suddenly Netflix buys it and suddenly, then it is. I knew it was good. It is good.
Right.
I wonder if you went through that at all during the process of people rejecting you or whatever with the special in particular.
A little bit. That happens with comics a lot. You didn't become funny the minute someone hired you.
Right.
You were always funny,
Right.
and then you got hired and an opportunity to pop off.
Right.
And the opportunity took.
Right.
And that's I'm sitting here before it comes out that and I'm in that headspace of like, I don't even want to imagine. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Because I'm like, maybe it could be nothing. Maybe something comes out and no one watches it.
Totally.
And
that's the next step.
That's the thing.
Because it's made now. So now, oh shit, I forgot that people now get to judge it. I was so focused on selling it that I forgot that doesn't necessarily mean,
right.
You know what I mean? Who knows?
We know people with Netflix specials who have the same life they had before it.
Mm-hmm.
And we also know people who fly private.
Yes.
This is
totally.
And I just, I guess I don't think nothing's going to happen. I think people are going to, I love it. I'm happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to sound negative on it. I hope I don't sound,
No,
because I do love it. It was a perfect picture of where I was at 37 December 2022. Totally. And I think people are going to relate to it highly, but I definitely, I don't, I also don't want to say, fuck, I'm not going to be, fuck everybody.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Netflix now.
Yeah,
You should take that out as a clip.
Yeah. Take that completely out of context.
Out of context.
Don't watch this special.
Hey, losers. You didn't think I was going to make it, did you? I'm not that guy.
Well, dude, per your own construction, at least you are successful without it also. At the very least. And I'm sure it's going to crush, and it's very relatable. And I find that sort of special, the beauty of this new era is that the sort of gatekeeping is a little less intense in that even though you're, a white and by your words, average looking guy who looks like more like the agents,
Right.
they can't deny you if it's what people want.
Right.
Whereas before they got to completely decide, they don't anymore.
direct to consumer, direct to, and my podcast keeps going. It's going to be up there for 2 years at a minimum. It's going to be on Netflix. You can search it anytime. You can rewatch it. You can watch it later. I would hope if you're listening or watching, you watch in the first week. That could be helpful for me.
Yep.
I would
Go
say
watch
give
it.
it 2 minutes. I think if you get to 2 minutes, you'll get to an hour. I think if you get to 2 minutes, you'll get to an hour if you watch the special. I really do believe that. And then, listen, some people, they hear an hour special. I got no time. Give it 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dude, like, honestly, I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm going to say that, but I do mean it. I'm serious. I do mean it. I thought it was really, really solid, really funny. Like, obviously, a guy who does comedy in New York, tons of laughs, tons of good moments in there. Super relatable. I was quoting the Indiana Business School line to Hill Dog last night, and we both got a good laugh out of that. Really great. And, tons of relatable stuff. In a lot of ways, both for like people in our age range. I'm also 37, and in general. So
Thank you, man.
pretty badass. It looked sick. I was thinking that too. It was like straightforward, and like sometimes.
Homeless Pimp.
What would you say? Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way.
Homeless Pimp.
Sick. Shout out
Yeah,
Homeless
he's
Pimp. That's
great.
dope.
Yeah, he's the best.
I didn't even know he had it like that. I'm sure it was obvious, but I
Oh, dude, he made the Stefano's.
fuck
And
yeah.
then I was like, and I've known Mike, from around. And,
Yeah.
that's the cool part is like you get to make it with people who are on the rise.
Totally.
Like Mike Lavin, Homeless Pimp, like he was taking pictures of people at the cellar and going
I
on the
remember.
road with
Yeah.
comics,
Yeah.
making their specials for YouTube. And now he's got a special on Netflix.
Yeah. Sick.
It's all fucking great. Like
Super
Betches, it's Betches' first ever thing on Netflix. Like a huge
Sick.
media company, their first thing. And it's all family. That's like the cool part. Like, it's my special, but it's like ours. It's like it's like a whole, like the Betches, like working with them has been the greatest pleasure in the world. And like now I'm doing all their podcasts to like talk about it because like I'm gonna go on every one of theirs.
Perfect.
And I'm just sitting there. It's like I'm there with my sisters. Like they and there is, and it's funny because like they were like, do you have their team comes into formation like to like make to do their marketing.
Totally.
And then they're like, okay, so what we need, and they go through all their accounts. They have like Betches Brides, Betches, Diet Starts Tomorrow, You Up, which is our podcast, at Betches of the Pop Culture. They have all the political one. They have a Betches Daily, or it's like political. I literally had a bit for every account they had.
Wow.
Like I had a clip. I literally like pushing. I was like, here's the dating. Here's the weight stuff. The Diet Starts Tomorrow one. Here's the political, like a little bit like, like the, cancel culture thing there, and it was just like a moment where I was like, oh, we are like just made for each other. Like it's crazy.
That's perfect, dude.
Yeah.
Perfect fusion. Guys, if you have any interest in taking your life and making it into a more sustainable one, environment-friendly life, Reboot Eco, an amazing marketplace for all things sustainable. I was very skeptical and selfishly too lazy to even attempt to start incorporating some of these things into my lifestyle. I was like, it's too much of a pain in the ass, or this stuff isn't going to work. And none of that is true. It's convenient, solid, and like better than the products that I was used to before. I've said this in other episodes, but the toothpaste is amazing. Foams like regular toothpaste, comes in sustainable packaging. It's all natural, really great. And honestly, I like it better than real toothpaste. It's not like, oh, but I'm trying to be better for the environment, so I'll take this L. It's not that. It's like the real deal kind of stuff. Deodorant that works. Bamboo toothbrushes that don't get disgusting on the bottom. This is the new iteration of all this stuff. They also have beauty products. I love the serum bar. I love the shampoo and conditioner bars, and a bunch of amazing cleaning products for your home space, your workspace, any stuff you need to have clean. Basically, all of your household needs can be covered by really cool, cutting-edge Reboot Eco products. So right now, you can go to rebooteco.com, use promo code OOPS. You'll get 15% off of your order. That's REBOOTECO.com, 15% off. We think you're going to love the stuff. Go in there and buy a bunch of it and let us know what you think. I've known you to talk a lot about like body stuff, body dysmorphia stuff, weight concerns, whatever. So specifically to this, because you mentioned this before, which I think is funny because this happens to me every single time I'm about to have like a somewhat important visible moment.
Right.
And if that moment doesn't go how I hoped, I then blame it on the fact that I wasn't able to be presentable enough. And if I had been,
God.
and it sounds like you relate to this a bit. So
course.
I want to hear about that in general, but I also want to hear how it has impacted you leading up till today when the special releases. I know it's a few days before. So like walk us through that preparation of being ready for when the special drops and that thought in general.
Well, here you're totally right. The idea, well, that's all parents too. Like my parents, it's how did you look? What are you wearing?
Interesting.
What do you look a little heavy? You know, that's like parent shit and family shit.
Mm-hmm.
Very Jewish, Italian. Like that's every conversation with my parents is food, body weight, food, body weight, food, body weight. It hovers over everything. So it's like, again, pass, fail. Well, you know why? You look great. You know, why? You know, my mom, like even the night of the special, she's like, you know, this is you shaved, you did it all right. Like that's the only reason it could. And then the only reason when you wear the jeans that you haven't washed in a week, then you don't get a stand-up special.
No.
You know, like that.
They can tell. They can tell.
They can tell. And then drinking gets into that. Cause like if I take 4 days off of drinking, I can see it in my face. And I don't think anyone can notice. And then my dad goes, not drinking, huh?
Yeah.
He goes, I saw on Instagram. I think you're not drinking. I go, how did you know? He goes, hey, this is what happened. Look at your face. And I'm like, can you just not mention anything? Like, can you just shut up about everything? You don't have to say, I don't need to, I'm doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And so so the idea of like how you look is how you feel. It's almost too connected. I agree with that, but it's like I wish I didn't have that on my mind. Like you know, I talk about nighttime eating in the special.
Yeah.
When I nighttime eat, it ruins my next day.
Yeah.
But I can't stop nighttime eating.
Yeah.
It's like a weird.
I feel you. It kills like, and I work on this all the time because it's like that doesn't have to be connected to everything else. Right. It's like a tennis metaphor where it's like the point is over, you play the next point.
Well, that's the biggest part is like when you fuck up, so to speak, and you binge eat, now you can't even regular eat.
Right.
That's the hardest part because
right.
then you fucking
now you're
punish yourself the next day.
Yeah.
So if you're on that cycle, like I'll go out at night, get drunk. If I just got drunk and then like passed out, no eating, I'd be okay. I wouldn't even regret anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's that food. Then I go the next day. I go. Okay, I guess I gotta have a protein bar in 12 hours, and now it affects my dating life because I'm like, hey, I got to cancel the date tonight because I got drunk last night and I ate last night and I don't want to feel fat 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, right.
So now I'm canceling the social activities because all leading back to one thing. And it's not the food. It is the alcohol.
Right.
Because the alcohol gets me to eat the food. It allows me to eat the food, which is like, that's a horrible thing in itself. And I know it. And when I'm on like a good way, I'm like, look at how I live my life. Like,
I know.
Like if I'm dating someone, like, hey, let's go to the baseball game and have a couple beers and then eat like, you know, pigs.
Right.
That's a good day. That's okay.
Right. You want to save that for those nice days.
Right.
As opposed to doing it randomly.
As opposed to the middle of the night, 3 a.m, like food I didn't even taste.
Yeah.
Right.
For no reason. Dude, it's very relatable. And for me, it all comes back to, it's like, okay, well, why do I care about what I look like? And that is an interesting thing for me to unpack. Cause it's like, sometimes I'm convinced that the better that I look, it will immediately mean that I'm going to be more successful. But then I look back on some of my past life, well, you know, 10 years ago, where it was like the say 2015, 2014, worst years of my comedy career, let's say, just for the exercise. 6 years in, I don't think that that's uncommon. It becomes hard to make new milestones.
Right.
I have no money. I'm in amazing shape. Doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
Doesn't matter else. So I'm like, okay, well, and also like, it's kind of funny to be sort of overweight. Like you're more relatable and people like you more. And then I'm like, okay. But then I go back to, I'm like, you know what, dude, have you seen a fucking leading man with tits? No, you haven't, dude. It doesn't happen. You need to get in there. So it's like, and I can never decide which one I actually feel. So a lot of the times I won't make any progress.
Right. This is why, you know, lately, especially with material, I'm just like, I got to tell a story that excites me.
Mm-hmm.
A story about me. Like, because what ends, I know what you're talking about. Like you go, the relatable thing. Well, now I'm dealing with weight issues and I can talk about it. If I look good on stage, I can't talk about the weight issues on stage. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's not true. Right. Like you got to live your life and you got to like live well and be okay. And then you're funny no matter what.
You tee that up nicely in the special too. Like it's not, noticeable to a non-comedian in
Right.
that like it was intentional, where you're like, I'm going to talk about weight stuff. You acknowledge the fact that you look better than a lot of the people in the room, or
Right.
some unspecifically, but something like that.
Yeah.
But it's good. It allows you to have context that allows you to kind of like explore these topics more without seeming inconsiderate.
Well, because everyone thinks they have problems.
Mhm.
That's the one thing you have to, like when people talk about privilege, that's why that subject annoys the fuck out of people.
Mhm.
People hate that subject because life is hard for everybody in some way or another. So when I go on stage and I'm like, I've been trying to lose 10 pounds my whole life, and I say that, which is absolutely true.
Yeah.
I'm always 10 pounds away, always. Losing 10, I got to lose 10 pounds. That means I got to lose 20 so that I can gain back 10, so I'll be happy at 10 loss. You know, I have that in my head.
Yeah.
But when I say that, I don't want to act. I want to make sure everyone is involved.
Yeah.
I want to make sure everyone in the room can have fun with this material. I don't want someone like, fuck you.
Right.
You're fine. You're
Right.
fine. Because again, we learned this from going on the road, from going on stage. You hear one woman, oh, no, you're fine. I had a woman in Portland yell at me, you're not fat. That was her heckle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, well, and then that became a joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
That became a bit I did on Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is that because I've never wanted to, that's something I never want yelled at me, because then someone else in the room is going,
Right.
something.
You see fat people in the front row, you're like, fuck. You're like, I'm going to do it the bit, but hopefully they don't get mad.
Right.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
go, so I'm saying, like, I know your struggle differently. I know your struggle if you're looking at me going, well, he's got a body that I would want.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand that too. And that even becomes a joke to some people.
Mhm.
When I
Right,
say
right.
like, yeah, I have a body that might be your goal weight. Someone's like, no fucking way.
Right. Exactly.
You know, so it all works on all
Another
angles.
direction.
And again, it's just me being me. If I start at, and this goes back to like, you know, which direction should I go with my body to be more successful? It's like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As you're you know?
Because by doing the punish yourself thing, that is the stuff that will actually affect your career negatively. Where I'm like, I can't go to the comedy club because I'm going to get fucked up and I'm on a health kick right now.
Right.
That's wrong. You need to
There
be
it is.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, that should be, it's important, but it's not the main thing.
Right. Because here's the other thing. It's like, there's so many comics that are like, they think, there are people out there who think the only way you can do stand-up comedy is if you have this horrific backstory, that you're fucking Batman or some shit. I couldn't disagree more with that premise. Like,
Agreed. Yeah.
And what they do is they make sure that they almost become what do they call it when you get in your own way, like the self-destructive.
Yes. Yeah.
They do behavior. This is what we do as comics.
Right.
And I'm like, nah.
That's what you do, dude.
That's what you do
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like give yourself the room to not do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is funny too, because that is a thing in general, though, for bad behavior in general. Like there have been times where I'm sitting in on like a shit talking session where one person becomes self-conscious because they realize they're going too hard. And then they'll be like, but we're comics. This is what we do.
Right. And you're like,
I'm like, sometimes, but like, I don't know, dude, this is not that
maybe
healthy.
we're being mean.
We're being assholes. This is very bad.
Yeah.
But dude, so we talked about this on the last episode. We did. I want to show you this. So it's funny too, because I have experienced my body at every weight pretty much. I've been like pretty fucking fat, and I've also been like too skinny as an adult.
Right.
So it's interesting to like, I hope that gives me the context to like maybe get somewhere where I feel really confident and I don't feel like I need to keep improving.
And so much of it is clothing. Like the hardest part is gain weight, and you go, this could be a good weight, but these clothes that I have aren't good for this weight.
Right. And they just might not be good on you,
Right.
period. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah.
Like I had like goal pants and shit. Like, dude, in 2015, I got really fucking skinny.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you this picture of myself. I remember thinking when this photo was taken that if I lost 10 more pounds, that I would look great. Look at this fucking.
I saw this today.
Yeah, that's a crazy photo.
It's a crazy photo.
I'm like 165 pounds there.
And you probably were not even like you probably weren't even feeling good.
No, I wasn't
Every
doing
day.
shit. And I was in LA. I was making no money, and I was going into my evenings where I needed to do comedy and be social and like try to make things pop off. And I was too tired to participate because I was too addicted to this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right. And that's hard. And it's like again, like, but the hardest thing is finding consistency, one.
Mhm.
But then the moderation thing. Life is moderation. Like,
Right.
and that's so hard to find because like I like 3 martinis.
Oh, I love them.
Right.
I can't give them up.
Is the number.
Yeah.
I like when, like last night I went for dinner with a friend and we went to the bar afterwards and he's like, I gotta go. I gotta be up early. And he left at the appropriate time. I go, I'll stay. And I kind of stayed for a couple reasons. One, I wanted like the post dinner alone at a bar, just not talk to anyone.
Mhm.
Like we just had a ping pong conversation back and forth. I'm like, let me just breathe. I'll get another drink while I'm breathing. And then another part of it was just like, I don't want the day to end. I want to like.
I didn't feel that. I
Like,
have to
I
wake
feel
up
a
and
little
do
bit-
all this shit tomorrow. Fuck
Right.
that. Let's not go to bed.
And I've been having that a lot lately, especially leading to the special, because I'm like, you know, I'm 5 days away now. I'm going, I want to live in this,
Mm.
you know, this pre anything,
Mhm.
pre disappointment, pre not, you know, excite. I don't know, you know,
Yeah.
and it's hard. That's the point where I go, because if I look back on the night when he's like, I'm gonna get out of here, I could have done that in bed.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I didn't have to
Right.
do that with another drink, and then I ended up ordering late
Mhm.
and ordering food after dinner, a second fucking dinner, like a piece of shit.
A second
dinner.
like a piece of shit.
I was so mad at myself this morning. I woke up. I like don't remember like how I got home. I get home. I'm like, I remember eating. I was
Yeah.
like, why can't I forget that shit? And the order was crazy. It was stupid. And then, you know, today I've just been all day like, what's wrong with you,
Yeah,
Jared? What's
yeah.
wrong with you? And then I went and got the craziest part about nighttime eating is what you will do at night and what you won't allow during the day. So
Totally.
like I didn't eat all day because I ate last night. And I drank last night and I woke up. I said, no, Jared, you got to fucking get it together. Stop it. This is stupid. For the umpteenth time.
Mm.
2:30 before I came here. I got a podcast before this. I came here. I go 2 Hands. You ever been to 2 Hands?
Best breakfast burrito in the city.
Place is great.
Place is great.
Well, I didn't even get to fucking experience the
Mm.
breakfast burrito
So
because
good.
I had a bagel and lox and a chicken salad wrap and a bacon, egg, and cheese last night. The old 3 for
the
3 for 3.
The old
The
trifecta.
old trifecta. You know that classic order. A chicken salad wrap with bacon,
One
egg,
guy.
and cheese,
Dude.
bagel and lox. You know, that's what you get. That's the number one on most restaurants, right? That's fucking
It's the special.
the number one. Yeah, the number one. Oh,
Yeah.
bagel and lox, chicken salad wrap,
It's crazy.
bacon, egg, and cheese.
Nice.
The old number one.
The
Yeah.
old number one.
What a dumb fucking order. And so I go to 2 Hands because it was right there. And I'm like, okay, what I have for breakfast when I'm being healthy is egg white omelet. That's like my go-to. I go in there and they're like, it's a great breakfast. It's like an Australian breakfast place. I didn't even know that was a thing. Apparently.
Brecky.
So it's just funny. I'm like, I look at the waitress. I was like, do you have egg whites? And as I said it, I was like, you fucking fraud. You fucking loser fraud. You had 3 sandwiches last night. Do you have egg whites? Do you hear it? She goes, nar. You know, she's nar. I'm like, okay, I'll do the eggs. And I got eggs with bacon well done. That's like a move I've done. And as I'm doing that, I'm like, oh, I wonder how much cream's in this.
Right.
And I'm going, Jared, I go back and forth between, I wonder how much cream's in this eggs. Dude, Jared, you had 3 dinners in one. you had 3 sandwiches. What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up.
How many drinks does that to you? Like, what's the cutoff
It
where
do-
you're ordering food?
It doesn't take a lot for me.
So is 3 versus 2 the number? Because you mentioned that earlier.
2, I could get through it, but I will be jonesing.
Okay.
It'll be very much addiction behavior. I'm like, you know, like I was in LA to do podcasts there, and I didn't eat one of the nights, but I did have a cookie.
Mhm.
Like it was like the cookie was almost like my version of morphine.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like,
Right.
No. What do they give?
No, but
Is
it's
that
the clinic, the
heroin.
how are we not? It's the methadone.
methadone.
Yeah.
That was my methadone.
Yeah. But it's dangerous because sometimes the methadone leads to use of the heroin. I don't know.
I mean, listen, one
You know what I
cookie
mean?
away from
Yep.
now I'm
17.
making popcorn. Now
Yep.
I'm having a slice of pizza. Now I'm having, order some ice cream.
Yep.
I've done that.
Yep.
I've gone
Same.
methadone to heroin
Yep.
in my food way.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. 100%. For me, it's like 2, I'm good. 2,
Right.
if I were to be able to just have 2 drinks, and I've been working on this, and I've been better this year about not falling off completely where I feel like I need to start over after I've worked so hard to try to get in shape.
Dude, this is the thing.
That's
Like,
been my big thing this year.
this is where we agree. I completely, like, my brother and I used to live together, and we'd like sit there. It'd be like Sunday morning. We like woke up hungover, and he's like, "You gonna work out today?" I'd be like, "I don't know. Are you gonna work out today?" He's like, "Want to have a wash?" And we used to call it a wash, where it's like we either go work out and we have a healthy day, or it's a wash.
We start tomorrow.
We start tomorrow, and then we have 3 legitimate deathbed meals. Like we have 3 electric chair last meals, not one, which is like, why not go to the gym, have a healthy day, then have a nice dinner
Right.
of your choosing, and
No
have like the
balance.
fun thing tonight. No. We had to have 3. We're gonna do the bacon, egg, and cheese with a third one to split. We're gonna do, the big sub from like Parm.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
like-
Right. You're
and then
cutting into
Chinese-
fried chicken, and you're like, I'm going to miss this
Right.
tomorrow. You know,
New
and then
life.
by Wednesday you're eating it again.
Right.
And you didn't even enjoy it. You might as well have enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It really is such a mind fuck. But yeah, so like 2, I'm good. 3, it's like I might be good, which tricks me
Right.
into having 3. But some nights 3 turns into 6, and I'm up till 5 a.m. watching music videos. And then the next day I'm not as effective. And
Right.
it's very subtle, but over time that behavior can add up. You know, in your case, it seems like you're still super productive, and that's great.
I try to. I mean, today, like I'm like, I'm hurting. Like I've been funnier, like I've been sharper than I am now.
You're pretty good, dude.
I'm
You're
doing okay. Thank you.
you're doing pretty
I
good.
appreciate. I don't know. It's just like a daily struggle. I hate that it's every day. Like,
Yeah.
and you go. I describe it. I'm semi-joking that it's an addiction, nighttime eating on the special, but like, also it's the same behavior. I think
Yeah.
it's just a different thing.
That story was great, by the way. We were trying to get into the house. I was like, that's super fucking relatable, dude.
Oh my god, that
You're
was
this
like,
angry addict who can't get what they want.
right.
And you're like acting insane.
Yeah, because my parents, they have this house in Boca, and I'm like, I just always imagine like with the neighbors, like if they saw me running around a house, and I'm like, they must think this guy, like, what's wrong with
Yeah.
the Freed family? Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, that's like a story for why like it's not great to have a gun at home because they thought you were robbing the house and your own
Right.
parents shoot you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, who's this guy? Well, right. Yeah.
Well, dude, yeah, it's crazy. And it's such an interesting thing, how stressful that whole thought process is. But then, if I get into a place where I'm behaving in a way where I feel like I have control over my destiny, because that to me is like the most stressful part, where it's like, I can fully control this.
Right.
I can't control my career. If I can't control this, why would you ever think you can control your career at all? And again, doesn't have to be related. We
Well,
can
that
be
goes
good
back-
at some things or bad at other things. You know what I mean?
That goes back to the minute a week.
hmm
If I'm doing a new minute a week, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Everything else will fall into place.
totally.
Like if I gave myself with drinking, if I was like, you could have 10 drinks a week. I don't think a doctor would be okay with that. But that would, if I said, and I had like a little pen and paper where I marked down 10 for the week, you're done.
Yeah.
I'd probably get to all of my goals, fitness-wise,
Yeah.
food-wise. I'd feel better. Again, if I quantify it in that way,
Mhm.
it'd probably be easier than, hey, cut the drinking. That's so
Right.
vague.
Right.
Maybe that's something I'll do. Maybe from now on, I'll go 10 a week.
10 a week.
Where'd you come up with 10? I don't know.
I don't
10,
know.
Nice round number.
Yeah.
That means I could have 2.
I don't get fatter.
Right. That's the I don't get fatter number. Right.
I don't get fatter is important.
Right. That's when are you going to have your 10? Maybe I'll have them all on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really fuck
Let's
myself
do it.
up. But it's only Sunday. You're done.
10.
I'm saving my 10. It's
Yeah.
like, It's like Weight Watchers for fucking alcoholics.
Well, dude,
Points.
I love drinking too, and I'm actually not willing to not drink. I've realized that because there have been times where I'm like,
Right.
just stop drinking. I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
That's where it cuts to moderation. I'm
Not
like,
doing
I
that.
do.
Exactly.
I'm not going to do that because I'm not I don't think I'm a bad drunk. Like I think I'm like a pretty, like whenever I've felt bad about drinking, someone's like, no, you were great last night. Like, oh, you just like were on your phone. What are you talking about? That's the response I get
Yeah.
to my anxiety. Like, what are you, crazy? Dude,
Yeah.
you were like
You're
eating
good.
and then you fucking, you didn't do any, you didn't even say anything. I've, especially with women in my past, like, they're like, you're the most loving person I've ever, texted with when you're drunk. I'm like, I gotta stop doing that too. Like,
No, dude, I feel you. I find too that my behavior when drunk is not a reason to stop, which
Right.
makes it harder to do the moderation thing. Because first of all, dude, I will also say this: some nights I'll get fucked up and make like really good choices for my future, which
Okay.
might sound crazy, but like,
what's the last choice you made?
and you know, the jury's still out on this, but a famous example, not that famous because you probably don't know about it, but like a thing I always talk about is like I wasn't sure if I was going to go do this comedy thing in Africa with these Africans. Everybody was telling me it seemed sketchy, and I was thinking I would go film it, but I was too afraid to do it. And one night I got bombed and booked non-refundable flights and woke up with flights. And I was like, well, going to Rwanda.
Come on.
And it's like shaped the trajectory of what I work on now. That's what I spend my
Amazing.
time. So cool, right? And now,
Right.
will that end up being a successful endeavor? I mean, we'll see.
Well,
but
that's the other thing. Is like, what do we consider success?
you're right. No, true.
You know, you go,
Right.
is making it success? Is, you know, this is the other thing. Like, I did another podcast and they were like, they read something that I had said and they really made it sound bad, in my opinion. They're like, so you like got into comedy because you're like, I just want to make money doing comedy, huh? That was their thing. And
You're like,
I was like, I don't think I said it in that tone. Like, I was like, I want to be funny for money.
right.
If we don't acknowledge that as comedians, then we don't become
Totally.
comedians.
Agreed,
You know?
agreed.
So I was like, yeah, I want to be funny for money. And I go, it's not.
It's a very
That's not me
standard goal.
being, right. What's that?
That's a very standard goal. I want to earn money doing this eventually.
Right. And again, I say it out loud because I do think comedians want to be the cool, this is my art. I
Right,
don't know,
right. I don't
money,
care about
what?
the
You know, I
money.
don't care. Yeah, you do. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You want to pay bills and be able to do what you love. I'm not looking to be fucking Jay Leno. You know, Jay Leno brings up every 5 minutes, I never spent my Tonight Show money. Like, it's like a bit at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you ever see an interview? He brings it up every fucking interview. And you're like, dude, you must really be diseased with cheapness. Like,
He also seems like he buys a lot of shit.
he buys cars and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Right.
So it's weird.
And I've heard he's the nicest guy in the world, but like the more he brings it up so much that you're like, are you okay, man?
Yeah.
Like get off this
Cool.
one.
Yeah.
Do you want us to like, do you want,
You want us to rob you? For real? Like,
Right.
why do you keep
He
telling
makes
us?
it sound like he's Scrooge McDuck and he has that bank vault that he swims in every day. That's what he sounds like. And, you know, so when I said to the guy, I was like, yeah, I didn't really say it that way. I go, I would want to be funny for money. I go, that is something I've said in the past. I can understand why I didn't even say it to him. I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, I can understand why he took it that way.
Right.
The reality is stand-up's the prize. You get to do it if you do everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get to do it if you go to Rwanda and you make the video that took you a lot of work
Right.
that people found and they go, oh my God, I love this. You know, Julio made this amazing Rwanda video. What else is he doing? And then they come to your shows because they saw the Rwanda video.
Right.
You get to do stand-up. So
Right.
it's like the prize.
Totally.
So again, that goes into like a very zen-y, like I'm thinking,
No, but
I'm not that guy usually, but it's a great way to like, you know, it's a perspective shift. What is success? You know?
Totally. And to your point, and well, this reminds me of something else though, so shifting, but still on the same tone. So you have always been good at doing things where you're being yourself, right? And it's funny because I don't know that I put this together. Maybe you were more aware of it, but like being yourself in something will actually positively impact your stand-up touring.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're just like playing the third lizard in Lizard Man or whatever, it's not going to sell comedy tickets.
No,
know what I mean?
that's the thing. It used to be the friend in a sitcom would be doing stand-up. They were like usually a stand-up.
Right.
Like Brad Garrett.
Right.
You know, Brad Garrett is Ray Romano's brother.
Mm-hmm.
He's on that show, and he's probably doing the road every weekend.
Yeah.
On, you know, whatever. Or on, when
Patton
they're off.
Oswalt, all like a lot of like side, sitcom characters.
And that's how you got people, because they look at the poster. Huh. I know that guy from
Mm-hmm.
Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go see the Raymond guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you sell tickets. Nowadays, everyone's so zoned in on who they follow and what
What stuff
personalities.
they like. Yeah.
Yeah, that you go, I guess, like, I also am not an actor. So, like, I couldn't play the third lizard. I could. I could lizard it up.
Yeah.
I anytime I went to an audition for like acting, I felt like I was a fraud.
Mm.
I was like, I'm more radio guy than I am actor guy.
Right.
And I do like having funny conversations about stupid shit.
Mhm.
Like I got guac with a pit in it. And it came with a pit in it. Like that to me, to rail about that is like the most fun gnaw on the bone subject. Like, why would they give it? Like, we've taken away some of your guac. It's all.
How did this get in here?
How did
this
this
is the
get in
biggest
here?
pit in nature.
Right. And the way it was crazy. And then I kept thinking of like how I went about, how I needed the waitress to know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I needed her. But I didn't want to complain. I want to be like, what the fuck is this doing in here?
Yeah.
I said it in a curious way. I was like, hey, is this what you guys do?
Right.
The pit?
Right. Does
And-
this preserve the flavor more? or
Right.
something?
And she goes, no, it's to keep it fresh.
Oh.
And I was like, how long do you think it's going to take me to eat this guacamole? This 3 ounces of guacamole? Like, in what world is freshness getting lost? Like, I don't know who you think you're dealing with. You think I'm like putting it away for work tomorrow?
This is only my first dinner.
Right.
There's plenty of room.
The appetizer, the appetizer. Yeah. That's funny.
Well, listen, we have like a few more minutes. I'm probably not going to get to everything that I wanted to.
Sorry.
Get to. No, that's good. I feel like you're a, prolific podcaster. I'm sure, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like if I don't get through all the stuff I wrote down, then I did a good job.
Oh yeah, it's a first date's good when you go, how do we start talking about this?
Right.
That's a good first date.
Yeah.
A bad first date is, so what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, agreed. Okay, so 37 and single, title of the special, obviously. Are you single currently?
I'm single. I've been going on dates.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider myself single. Yeah.
Do your parents want you to end up with somebody who's Jewish?
Yeah.
And that's like,
My mom does. My dad doesn't care.
and you, like, how aware are you of that? And like,
Very aware.
so you're like trying to find a good Jewish girl, typically.
I mean, here's the thing about the Jewish thing. It's so funny. Like that thing can be made sound bad,
Mhm.
and it can be made sound good.
Totally.
Someone go, oh, you don't want to date, this person who's perfectly nice and not Jewish. It's like, if you want to put me in that position, no, I don't want to date that person.
Mhm, mhm.
Here's the more fun way to say it is like, I really think that like I have, that I'm going to have more in common just by the numbers with someone who grew up Jewish just right out of the gate.
Mhm.
And on the special, I'm talking about like how I'm the problem, how I make assumptions of people. I do want to be like the first date to feel like we've been together 6 months.
Mhm.
So how do I get there? I'm going to play the numbers. The numbers are the person who went to summer camp growing up and the person who had, Rosh Hashanah, the person who built in, they come, with their packaging,
Totally.
all the memories that I have.
Yes.
So that's really the nice way and the way I've rationalized why I would look to meet someone who's Jewish as opposed to not. But
And I wasn't that way. I wasn't trying to like back
I
you
know
into
you're
a
not.
corner.
But sometimes I get fearful because when I say that, I know that someone out there is, well, that's fucked up. It could be considered fucked up. I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think it is. And I asked because we live in New York. I'm friends with tons of Jewish people who
Right.
I all love. And it's funny because I found that it's hard to tell how like deeply committed to like all the Jewish
Right,
stuff
right,
a
right.
Jewish person might be.
That's the New York problem.
Yeah.
To me, as a Boston Jew, there's never been a place that's more Jewy than New York to me.
Yeah.
Like
interesting.
in Boston, the community isn't that grand. Here, you could have Hasidic, you could have modern Orthodox, regular
Right.
Orthodox, you could have conservative, Reform. Here has so much Judaism that I didn't know that.
all the Judaism.
All of it.
Yeah. And to your point, like a guy who I played tennis with in college, very, very like sort of some sort of Orthodox situation. I don't know the specifics. So I don't want to like talk about the
one of the many
denominations.
that I just said.
Yeah. Yeah. So he would like do like a bunch of stuff that I
Right.
had never seen in my life before with the arm.
Filling, yeah.
Yeah. And like a bunch, and I apologize that I don't know the specific
You
names.
should
I don't want
know
to see
it.
insensitive.
I barely know it.
So, but, and I would have had no idea that he was so like rigorously a practicing
Right.
religious person.
Right. That's one of those. I dated someone who was kosher. I realized it just wasn't for me. My mom grew up kosher, then was not. My brother's fiance, I think, was kosher-ish, but not like I didn't meet her and go, what? I don't know what type. You're not relatable to me.
Yeah. So, but dude, like 100%. And like as an example, I'll like smoke weed with my friend's dad and then find out that that same guy really cares that his son marries someone Jewish.
Right.
To me, that somehow is confusing.
It is confusing. I think and to me, it's not. It gets less confusing when you think of that. Like I'm talking about on stage, my family a lot, and it's like my family. I get annoyed with. We yell. We get in fights, but I do enjoy hanging out with them. Like I enjoy having the familial thing. Some people, they're like, get the fuck away from me. I'm out of here. I don't need to go. Like I go on vacation with my parents. Like if they were like, we're going to Europe next year, I would go with them and have a great fucking time. I think that's what it has to do with is like, if I'm going to have someone, because I think like sometimes it feels like I'm in a family business. Like it's like I have these partners at the firm.
Yeah. And
And I have to like, I'm talking a lot about this, and it's like I need someone. If I'm gonna hire a partner for this firm, they got to fit in with the other partners. And some people don't have to do that at all, and I envy that. But I think, especially for Jews, like there is this thing of like we're not going away anytime. I gotta make sure this kid brings home someone that I'm going to relate to. And I think that older people, they have the fear of they fear things in a way. The idea that you wouldn't relate to your son's girlfriend if she wasn't Jewish is crazy.
Right.
But that's them putting a rule in place because of their fears that are crazy. But they are there.
Right.
Right.
And it can even just break down to like practical things too, like scheduling and, well, if you're with her, then you guys will be doing that and you won't be able to do our thing. It would be easier if you were on the same page.
Right.
And we could all do all the same stuff. This is a hard conversation to have because it's like scary because you're just afraid to like, I'm afraid to sit here and say Jewish people and then say what they do afterward. You know what I mean? I have a Jewish girlfriend.
But I wouldn't even think twice. Like someone said that like, Jamie Foxx is in trouble for like anti-Semitism.
Really?
And I was like, what happened? Then they read the tweet. I was like, where is it? They're like, he said they like killed Jesus. And I was like, I didn't hear Jew in that. I guess any use of they kill Jesus is you infer Jews. And I was like, aren't you more anti-Semitic for thinking that? I was like, I don't know. I'm also like, I'm always the wrong person to ask. Like I come from like, we went to a conservative temple, but we were high holiday Jews. It was like we go to 3 things a year. I went to summer camp with a bunch of Jews, but it wasn't even a Jewish summer camp. It just by just randomness, or not randomness, but by that just so happened to be 98% Jewish. So and that was in my town growing up. Wasn't that like it wasn't like I was surrounded by Jews my whole life. It was like my town had my one neighborhood was very Jewish, and then the rest of the town was more Irish Catholic. And so I'm not even confident enough in how much, I'm always like, I don't want to co-opt,
right?
because there's someone out there, And I do think, like, when I went to Israel, you look at like what religious Jews do, it does come from a place of like very, it's like well thought out. Like they have a prayer where you wash your hands before dinner.
Mhm.
And it's like, you basically just want to make sure that you don't get fucking shit in your food. Like this was all, it just feels like all
This is
that.
practically placed.
Practically. Yeah. They have a, like it's shit like that where you go, oh, like when a Jew dies, you do the Shiva call.
Mhm.
So 5 days you go to a house. What a great
It's a
practical
great
thing.
thing. It's a great
For
thing.
5 days or whatever the amount of days are, there's a place where you get to go pay your respects and the family can be together and get fed by, the
Right.
community.
Soften the initial blow. Have
Right? You're
everybody
around people.
Yeah.
They knew you just got to be around people. You can't isolate
Yeah.
after a death.
Yeah.
What a nice thing.
What a nice thing.
Going off your phone on Friday night and not doing it until Saturday, like, wouldn't we all be better people?
right.
Right? You go,
Totally.
right. And so,
That's funny.
I don't know, a lot of the things it makes me want to be more religious just for the
The benefits.
practicality
Yeah.
benefits. But then, I'm also like, I am not,
Mhm.
I feel a little ridiculous.
Mhm.
Like I wear a chai now because it was my grandfather's,
Mhm.
not because I'm like, warding off the spirits.
Right,
Like,
right,
I don't
right,
know.
right.
I don't know. That's probably shitty to say.
No. But it's true. And I think it's good that like you're able to find which piece of it works for you.
Right.
If you are Jewish, you can,
Something
in
in
most
me wants
major
to become
religions.
more religious. I just think it'd be fun to like have a place to go. Like
I think
just,
about
like,
it sometimes.
You do?
Yeah.
Like
As I
going to
get older.
church?
Like maybe not literally going to church, but I like thinking of the idea that like there's more, and like not even just because the idea of people I love dying sucks, but just like because it feels like a nice thing, and why not?
Right. Go for the stories. Like some of those like Bible stories are like, oh, and then really, these are good. These are
Good
the
stuff.
There's a reason it stood the test of time. Right. Like when they give the sermon at the end of the, a temple, I go, oh, I get to hear this guy's fucking NPR, his TED Talk,
Totally. Well, dude, at the very least, I have always enjoyed seeing the way that other cultures or religions or whatever do stuff, because
Right.
there's always at least some good stuff in there that you
Always.
can learn from. You know what I mean?
Always. I mean, especially also like, I like the food aspect of it. To come back to food, it was like, what I did, I went to Europe, I did shows in Europe, and I had a travel agency. Like, basically, I was like, here's my tour.
Oh,
Make
you
me
just
a
did
trip.
this, right? I
Yeah.
think I talked to you before you went on.
Yeah, in May. It was
was
awesome.
awesome?
And the
Nice.
travel agent did a great job because they were like, what do you like to do? I go, I don't like museums. Like now it's like, let me tell you, I'm a stupid fucking American.
The next podcast you go on, did you say you don't like music?
Right. No museums, no learning, no reading. So I go, I don't like museums. I love food. I love experience type of stuff. And I go, also nice hotels. I was like, go,
Yeah.
and they had me do these food tours in Dublin and in Copenhagen.
Sick.
It was awesome. And Dublin, the food is garbage.
That's what they say. That's what they
It's
say.
horrible. It was like, but it was a great experience and a great way to like learn about a city.
Mhm.
Cause I was like, I'm not reading like fake reading a sign next to a statue.
Mhm.
You have this like theater kid leading the way. It's always a theater kid. And then the Copenhagen has like two of the best restaurants in the world. Apparently,
Yeah.
there's like a huge food scene there. The food though, like that's not their food. Like it's just
Right.
fine chefs. Like the Copenhagen, I think they're more engineer types. So they like are really into the engineering of great food.
Right.
But the food that we had on the tour was like fine.
Mhm.
They have this like they do a big thing, open face sandwiches. That's like their like national whatever.
Bring it
whatever.
on.
It was fine. They compared it to sushi, but for like them.
Mhm.
I ain't going to a Copenhagen open face sandwich place anytime soon. But I enjoyed learning through that,
Right. Doing it.
doing it,
Right,
and when you
right.
got the steps in, you walked. I don't know. That's like something like it feels like a vacation hack because then
Yeah.
it's like at the most I think they're like 3 hours, and then also you get these weirdos that are on the tour too. My whole tour in Dublin was like all 60-year-old people from America.
My parents were probably on it. They just did that recently.
Really?
Like in Dublin too.
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
That would be
legit.
insane. Yeah.
And then like at one point they're like, there was a woman on the tour. She's like, what do you, because I'm alone. I'm this guy in his 30s alone in Dublin. They're
great,
like,
dude.
what is your deal? Like, what do you, we're all here because
Just
we're
trying to
retired.
set you up with their daughters.
Worse. They go, why are you here? I go, I'm a comedian. At some point it came out. And she goes, oh, you're going to like do a show at a bar
Oh,
here? And I'm
God.
like, what do you think I came here? What?
Yes.
I'm like, I'm here for shows for work. I'm a comedian. You know, there's a bar that does comedy. I was like, and I had to like go, cool, nice. I'll go check it out. Like, I'm like, no, there's like tickets were bought.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
here for like, this
But
is
you don't
a-
need to explain yourself to this lady either.
Right,
You're like,
right.
okay, I can't play that game. Yeah.
No. She was like, oh, and then it was just really funny. And we sang happy birthday to one woman and I like videoed it. Like,
Nice,
and I'm
dude.
like singing happy birthday to some random 65-year-old woman. It's like, great. Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. I love shit like that.
That's great. Sounds like a fulfilling experience. I love that shit too. Awesome, man. Well, dude, thanks for coming on the
Dude,
pod.
this
This
was
fun.
fantastic.
Had a great time.
So much fun.
Yeah. Tell us about the special. Give us the official
37
plug.
and single that's out on Netflix today.
Crazy.
Now, honestly, I say this. Someone messaged me. They're like, they told me that Fortune Feimster was telling people like, just go watch for 2 minutes,
Oh, really?
and because I guess that's what gets you your view.
Interesting.
And I'm like, I don't like that. You know, like I'm like, well, you can't go watch and just turn
Watch
it
the
on.
whole thing.
But then they explained it to me in a way. They were like, they said they go. For them, they were saying that 2 minutes was edible. Like they were like, I don't have an hour.
Mhm.
So I'm like, so I guess that does make sense. I think if you're in for 2 minutes, you're in for an hour. I think it's an enjoyable special. So just turn it on.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I did. You know what I did? I got my steps in while I listened to it.
Oh, really?
I brought it with me on the street and walked around.
Love
Two
it.
birds with one stone. Had the nice clarity. Really enjoyed it.
Thank
Looked
you.
great. Sounded great. It's hilarious. Jared Freed, 37 and single. Go watch on Netflix. Follow him on Instagram. Watch him yell at some charcuterie if you can find one of those.
It's
Talk
all
about
on
the
there,
Bachelor.
yeah.
All that shit's still up there. Thanks for coming through, dude.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate
It was great.
Yeah, sweet.